Okay, welcome back everybody for our Motzi Shabbos Marathon. And now, we didn't do it earlier because we were in a mad rush to start, but we thank A.B. Spry for sponsoring the Shir Michal Avram. We welcome in A.B., we welcome in Stephen Holtzman, Mel Zachter, Berish Gesserman, Saba, Dr. Black, Dr. Guy, Yisrael Fisher, Eddie Chazan, Shimon Deer, Nachman Chapler, Aaron Swade, Yitzi Fuchs, Bruce Eisenberg, Michael, Irving Fishbaum, Yitzi Muller, Menachem Yamansky, Ruven Shannon, Ilya Shutman, Rabbi Kranz, Naftali Jablin, Shelley Zeitman, Chaim Braun, Moshe Lehman, and Chaim. We also welcome in David Helfgott on Kalaloshin, and we again want to ask everybody to please learn for Yoel Ben Frumit. And we also want to remind everybody that we hopefully will have a chok tomorrow night, which I hope we will be able to do. It's going to be sponsored by Irving Fishbaum. And we also want to comment that this coming Thursday is the start of Bava Basra. Everybody should be an ambassador to get people to start Bava Basra with us. It's very important because it's 176 delicious blot, so you really could benefit people. I'm going to try very hard that before Thursday I clear up this 914 business so that it should be easier for people to get access on. I think it's simply playing around with the controls. My Facebook fuzziness, that's a different business. I played around with it a lot. I haven't been able to clear that up, so maybe there is something wrong with one of my lenses on the camera, which I will find out. I will bring it to AT&T when I am able to.
What time tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, 5 to 9. This whole week, 5 to 9.
I'm sorry, Rabbi, you said that the person was going to be embarrassed. I thought he's dead.
What?
You said that the reason that you take the pajamas back...
No, he's not dead. We're saying, what if he dies?
Oh.
But what's the reason why we always take it back? Why do you have to take it back again?
Okay.
Now, no, I'm not doing Trias HaMesim. No way. We are holding now a little bit ahead. We are holding 8 lines from the top of Kuf Tes Vav. Now, you know, when you're up to a Daf 115, that's a mouthful, 115. That's a Daf that Talmidei Chachamim get up to, you know. You know, when you start with Daf Beis and you're up to 115, you know, you're doing a pretty good job. Now, Tana Rabbanan. If Eddie takes a loan for me, I'm not allowed to go into his house to take security. I can't go into Eddie's house, but let's say I gave Eddie a loan and Mel Zachter was foolish enough to be a guarantor for Eddie's loan. In other words, Mel had a temporary lapse of his good judgment, and he was a guarantor for Eddie. So I can enter Avalata Nichnos L'Beisei Shel Orev. I can go into Mel's house and take, because he is a guarantor. Now, how do we know that a guarantor is on the hook? It says in the pasuk, Lokach Bigdai, if his garment was taken away, ki orev zar, because he was a guarantor for a stranger. V'omer, and it says further, B'nei, my son, imaraftal reyacha, if you were guarantor for your friend, tokata lezor kapecha, you stretched out to a stranger your palm in guarantee. No kashta b'imrei picha, you stumbled with the words of your mouth. Nilkadata, you fell down b'imrei picha because of the words of your mouth. Asay zois eifa, you should do this now, b'ni v'inotzel, and then you will be spared from tinus. Ki bosa b'kafreyecha, because you have fell into the grasp of your friend. Leichis rapes. His rapes means hater pas. Open your hand, release your hand, and give the cash. And if you cause, as the Gemara will explain, if you cause your friend aggravation, pain with words, verbal abuse, or rahav reyecha, then ask him forgiveness by getting many friends to ask him that he should forgive you. If Mel owes money, then heter like pieces yad. Open up the palm of your hand and pay up. But if it's a matter of insult, harbal of reim. That's how we dance in rahav reyecha. Harbal of reim. Have many friends implore him to forgive you. Litzad sheni. It's an unusual terminology for the Gemara, but this means another angle of the word beisai. If you go into his house, la avoit avoitai. So it says you're not allowed to go into his house. So the Gemara says, tzad sheni, another angle is that beisai yatanichlas. I can't go into Eddie's house when I gave Eddie a loan. Aval atanichlas l'schar kosef. If Eddie was a porter, if I was a porter for Eddie, if I schlepped things for Eddie, or l'schar chamor, or I transported things with a donkey, or l'schar pundik, or he stayed in my inn, l'schar diuknais, or I did paintings for him. So then I can enter and seize if he doesn't pay me. Now, yochel afilu zokvan alav b'milva. Is that true if I converted it in, if we converted it into a loan, and I said, Eddie says, Rabbi Weiss, I don't have the money now, and I made it into a loan, can I then still enter his house? If it's any kind of a loan, then I'm not allowed to enter into his house. Now, the Torah says that the security of a widow you can't take at all. Almana, bein she aniya, bein she ashira, whether she's poor, whether she's wealthy, so you can't take security at all. It's not a question of returning it in the night. You can't take it at all. Shenema, even through the court. Shenema lo yisak bo beged almana. Now the question is this true only for a poor widow or even for a wealthy widow? Now, Mishnah says it's true for both a poor and a wealthy widow. So, Tan Rabbanan, Almana bein she aniya, bein she ashira, whether she's poor, whether she's wealthy, aim mashkinaisa. You can't take from her security. Div Reb Yehuda. Reb Shimon says no. Ashira mimashkinaisa. If she's wealthy, you could take collateral. Aniya aim mimashkinaisa. You can't take when she's poor. You know why? Because we're worried that you're going to return it in the night, and a man is going to be hanging around our house in the night, and people are going to start talking about her that she's doing something immoral with this man. Because you'll have to return her pajamas in the night, and you're going to give her a bad name in the neighborhood. A wealthy woman, however, you could take it, because you don't have to return it to her. So you could take it. So the Gemara says, "Lememra, are you going to say the Rabbi Yehuda loy darish tamid dekra?" Rabbi Yehuda doesn't darshan the reason of the pasuk, and therefore it says that you're not allowed to take the security of an almana. So it says it without any reservations. It's both wealthy and poor. Reb Shimon darish tamid dekra, and Reb Shimon darshan's tamid dekra, and therefore he says it only applies to a poor widow because you're going to be giving her a bad name when you return it in the night. Says the Gemara, but we got a problem. We learned just the opposite, the Tanya. It says about a king, he shouldn't have a lot of women. Shouldn't have a lot of wives. Rabbi Yehuda, he could have a lot of wives, as long as they don't turn his heart away from Hashem. If they're pious wives, he could have a lot of wives. Reb Shimon says, afilu achas. Even one wife that's wicked he shouldn't have. Afilu achas v'hi mesira asleep Then when it says you can't have a lot of wives, it must mean even righteous wives. Even if they're righteous, like the righteous Abigail, you shouldn't have a lot of women. So that sounds like Reb Shimon is not darshan time in the Krah, and Rabbi Yehuda is darshan time in the Krah. So the Gemara says no. Lo'ilam Rabbi Yehuda loy darish time in the Krah. When the pasuk doesn't say a reason, like by loy sakbo beged almana, so there we don't say a drasha that it's only a poor almana because you're going to give her a bad name when you return it in the night. No, Lo'ilam Rabbi Yehuda loy darish time in the Krah. V'shani yacha, but it's different by a king because it says the reason. It says in the pasuk v'lo yasser es libay, the shani yacha the mefarish Krah v'lo yasser, that they shouldn't turn his heart. So therefore, he can't marry a lot of women if they're of bad nature, because they'll turn his heart if they're a bad ashkafa. Reb Shimon says no. Reb Shimon says we always dash in time in the Krah. So therefore, if the reason is because they're going to turn his heart, it doesn't have to say lo yaser libay. We would know that. So it says Reb Shimon michtei ba'alma darshina time in the Krah, even if it doesn't say it. So therefore, lichter rachmana lo yarba. You shouldn't have a lot of wives. Ba'inan lo yaser. It wouldn't have to say that not to turn his heart, and we would know why not a lot of wives, because they'll turn his heart. So why does the pasuk say lo yaser? Lo yaser de kaser rachmana lamali. Oh, afilu ata achas, even if it's one wife, umasira es libay, and she's of a bad character, and she'll turn his heart. Lo yisana. If it's many wives, then even if they're good like Abigail, he shouldn't marry them, because too many wives are going to turn his heart. Now, a mill is made up of two pieces. It's made up of the bottom base, that's called the rechaim, and then there's the upper stone that rides on it, that's called the rechev. And the pasuk also says you shouldn't take any security, ki nefesh u'chayvel. So anything that's needed for oichel nefesh, you're not allowed to take. So it says the Mishnah, hachayvel es harichayim, if you take as security the mill, over mishum lo yisaseh, you're over for a lav, v'chayim mishum shnei kelim, and you're chayiv a separate lav for each part. Shenema lo yakbo rechayim v'rechev. You shouldn't take the millstone, that's the bottom, the base, and the rechev, and the one riding on it. V'lo rechayim v'rechev bilvad amru. Not only shouldn't you take the mill, ela kol davar she'oisim by oichel nefesh, anything that you need for preparing food for life, like the oven, shenemar ki nefesh u'chayvel, because you're taking away his life. So now we got to follow the names over here. We got to just so we don't get confused in the ensuing Gemara. So Amar Rav Huna, chaval rechayim, if you take the mill, so like a shtein, because remember we said that the mill, it has two parts, the base and what's riding upon it. Mishum rechayim, chaval rechayim. If you just take the bottom piece, the base, like a shtein, you get two lavim, mishum rechayim, because you took the bottom piece, and because that is taking away his life. Or mishum kinefesh u'chayvel. So he holds, Rav Huna holds that there's separate lav for kinefesh u'chayvel. Rechayim v'rechev, if you took both parts, the base and the mill that rides on top of it, like a shalish. Mishum rechayim v'rechev, or mishum kinefesh u'chayvel. So Rav Huna holds that you're liken on a lav shebeklolis, because the pasuk kinefesh u'chayvel is a general lav, and he says that you get, not only do you get malchus for the mill, but you also get malchus for the ki nefesh uchayvel. That's the opinion of Huna. Rav Yehuda is more restrictive. Rav Yehuda says no. Let's see it inside. Rav Yehuda Aimer, chavel rechaim like achas. For the rechaim, you only get one, the bottom mill. If you take rechaim v'rechev, you get two, because you have the upper one and the bottom one. But like a shtayim, but kinefesh uchayvel, that's only for other things, like an oven. Kinefesh uchayvel, that only comes for. And we're going to turn the page now. I don't want you to grimace that it's a short daf. Please don't grimace. It comes to other things, like taking an oven. Now, let's say this machloikis, Rav Huna says that your kinefesh uchayvel, it's a general lav, and it applies also to the rechaim and rechav. That's called like an alav shebeklolos. And Rav Yehuda that says you're not chayiv for kinefesh uchayvel because that's going on other stuff. Let's say that that's the argument of Abaye and Rava. Lema Abaye of Rava beplukted Rav Huna Rav Yehuda kamiflagi, and we really don't want to say that, because we really don't want to say that the later Abaye and Rava are arguing about something that their predecessors were arguing about, because it just should say that one holds like Rav Huna and one holds like Rav Yehuda. They shouldn't make it like it's their own new argument. But the Gemara asks, now this is talking about the Korban Pesach. Now Rava says, by the Korban Pesach, achal na. Na means where it's half roasted. It's on the raw side. It's half roasted. So achal na like a shtayim. It gets two malchus. First of all, it says al toichel mimenu na. You shouldn't eat it raw. I mean half roasted. So like a mishum na mishum ki im tzliyesh. The pasuk also says that you should eat it fully roasted. So if you eat it half roasted, there's two lavin. One of na, I'll take them mimenu na, and one is that you didn't eat it fully roasted, kiyum tzliyesh. And again, kiyum tzliyesh is a lav shebeklolos. The same thing he says, mavushal, if he eats it cooked, like a shtayim, mishum mavushal, because it says, I'll take them mimenu na, or bashal mavushal b'mayim, and mishum kiyum tzliyesh. What if he half roasts it and cooks it? Na umavushal, like a sholish. She gets three lavin. Mishum na, because it's half roasted. Mishum mavushal, and also it's not fully roasted. And mishum loisachlenu kiyum tzliyesh. So again, Rava seems to learn that you're like an alav shebeklolos, like Rav Huna. Abaye Omer ain't like an alav shebeklolos. So if he eats it half roasted, he's only chayiv for al teichel mimenu na. If he eats it cooked, he's only a chayiv for bashal mavushal b'mayim. If he eats it half roasted and cooked, he's chayiv for al teichel mimenu na and bashal mavushal b'mayim, but not for kiyum tzliyesh, because that's a lav shebeklolos. So it sounds like that clearly over here. It sounds like Abaye holds like Rav Yehuda, and Rava holds like Rav Huna. Says the Gemara. Abaye d'Amak Rav Yehuda, v'Rava d'Amak Rav Huna. So Amalach Rava says no. When I say that you get malchus for half roasted, also for kiyum tzliyesh, I could hold even like Rabbi Yehuda. I know Damri, I feel like Rabbi Yehuda. I could hold even like Rabbi Yehuda, who says by the rechav, by the rechaim and rechav, you're not chayiv for kinefesh uchayvel. Why? Ad kan like Rabbi Yehuda asim that you're not chayiv for kinefesh uchayvel. Ela the kinefesh uchayvel loy mashma rechaim v'rechav. The pasuk of that says rechaim and rechav would not tell you an oven. Would not tell you a grinder. So it has to say ki nefesh uchayvel. Hilkach l'shar dvarim udas. Therefore, I hold that kinefesh u'chayvel is only going for the other stuff, and it's not adding an extra lav for rechaim and rechem. Aval hacha, but over here, once you say half roasted and once you say cooked, why does it have to say kiyim tzliyesh for? Aval hacha kiyim tzliyesh l'mayasa. It must be to tell you an extra lav. Shma mina l'lav. It must be to tell you an extra lav. V'abaya amalach, Abaya, who says that you don't get malchus for kiyim tzliyesh. Anod amri afilu Rav Huna. I could hold even like Rav Huna, who says you do get malchus for nefesh u'chayvel. And if you have a rechav and a rechaim, you get 3 lavim, one for rechaim, one for rechav, and one for kinefesh u'chayvel. You know why? Because ad kan lo yikam Rav Huna hasam ela kinefesh u'chayvel. The pasuk of kinefesh u'chayvel yisera he. It's needed to tell me other stuff. It's needed to tell me an oven. It's needed to tell me a grinder. And once it adds a lav for them, kaven the yisera, since it adds a lav for an oven and a grinder, shadia rechaim v'rechav, it adds a lav for the rechaim and rechav too. But over here, when it says kiyim tzliyesh, that's not coming to add a lav. Kiyim tzliyesh teaches you another halacha. You know what the halacha is? The halacha is that the only time you're chayiv if you eat the korban pesach cooked or half roasted is only when you have a chayiv to eat it roasted, the night of Pesach. But if you shecht it erev Pesach like you're supposed to, and you eat it cooked on erev Pesach, you're not chayiv. And that's what we learn out. Says Avahacha kiyim tzliyesh lav yiseru. It's not coming to tell me an extra lav. The mabayilei lekidisanya b'shoshi yeshna bekum echol tzli. When you have a chiyuv to eat it roasted, that's when you're over a lav. If you eat it cooked or if you eat it half raw, then it's babal teichel no. But b'shoshi eina bekum echol tzli. When you don't have a chiyuv to eat it roasted, erev Pesach after you shechted, then ain't a b'bal teichel no. You don't get a lav for eating it half roasted or cooked. Okay, Rabbi say it's not bad at all. We managed even with our late start to do the 2 blat in 55 minutes. We're going to learn now the Mishnah Yomis.